Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Gretchen, and today I just wanted to do a video to talk about the BookTube Prize and how I am going to be a judge for this year's quarterfinal round. So earlier this year, I may have briefly mentioned on my channel that I had signed up to be a judge, and they announced the judges, I think maybe back in late January, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably wrong about that, but that's when I think it happened. And I was so bummed when I didn't get picked for the first round. And I really thought that I stood a chance because I had never been a judge before, and the way it was described was that if you were a first-time judge, your name would kind of float to the top of the list or toward the top of the list so that newcomers could participate, and then those readers or judges that had participated in the past would be considered for, you know, later rounds and things like that. So I really thought that I would be chosen for the first round, and when I wasn't, I was really disappointed, and I almost thought to myself, you know what, if I didn't get picked for this first round, you know, maybe I'm not going to get picked for the second round either, so I won't, you know, move forward. But I'm glad that I did because I got selected, and we are now in the quarterfinal round. And for those of you that don't know about the BookTube Prize, I will take a minute just to kind of enlighten you on what it is. So this prize has been around for 7 years now. This is the 7th year of it, and it is a community-based prize. So there's a content creator, his name is Robert Sheard. He is the one that does all of the work for this prize, and I thank you so much, Robert, because I can only imagine the amount of time and effort and work that goes into keeping this prize running. And you need to know that we all do appreciate you and what you're doing. And basically what happens is we, of course, have a list of judges, and the judges are from the community. It's from content creators, it's from viewers that sign up that don't actually create content, but they participate in, you know, not only reading the books, but interacting with the content creators. And it's just a wonderful representation of the community of readers that we have here on BookTube. It's not just about those of us that sit in front of a camera and talk about our books. It's about pulling in everyone that makes this community what it is. We would not be content creators if it weren't for those of you that watch videos like this and participate and comment and like and subscribe. So I love the fact that we're pulling in everyone, and it's not just about the people with platforms and the ones that are in front of cameras talking about books. It's an inclusive prize. And basically, after the judges are selected or they sign up, there was a ballot that was sent out by Robert to all of the people that had signed up to be judges, and it had this huge long list of books, and we were to pick, I can't remember how many it was, maybe 10 or 20. I wish I could remember the number, but basically we all go through this list and we choose what books we want to be considered for nomination. And then he compiles all of those books together, and he takes the top 48 books. And then the first round consists of 8 different groups of 6 books, and that was the first round, and I believe that lasted from February through March. And now we're entering the quarterfinals, so we're now down to 4 groups of 6 books. So every round, the list of books is cut in half. So for this round, the quarterfinals, I was chosen to be a judge for Group A. So we'll talk about what those books are that I'll be reading in just a second. But another thing to keep in mind about this prize is that Robert really wants us to be the ones that are judges that do have a platform, he wants us to be engaged, and he wants us to participate in not only promoting the prize, but also in talking about the books that we have read for the prize. Now, the only thing about that is we're not to talk about the books that we have read or are judging until after the winners of this particular round are announced. So although I will be reading these books in April and May, I won't actually be doing any official discussions about my thoughts on the books until we get to June. But the caveat to that is, being an avid reader, the list sometimes that we get assigned to could have books that we have already read, and that is absolutely the case for the books that are in my specific grouping. And I have already talked about some of these books on my channel, and that's okay, but I won't be talking any further about those books, nor will I talk about any of the new ones that I will be reading until we get to the next round and the announcements for the semifinals are announced. Another part of the BookTube Prize is that it's very simple in its structure, where we are given 6 books to read, and it's just a simple ranking. So we take those 6 books that we have read and we rank them from our favorite, from 1 to 6. And that is the way that Robert compiles, or he figures out all of that on his end, what are the 3 winners from that group that are going to move on to the next round. So when we get to the end of this round, I will do a video talking about this specific round, my experience with it, and also the ranking in which I put the books together. Now that I've talked about what the prize is, let's go ahead and get into those 6 books that I will be reading for this grouping. My first book in Group A is Our Evenings by Hollinghurst. Now, this is a book that I haven't read yet, but it was a book that I was really looking forward to. In fact, it was on one of my anticipated releases videos that I did last year. But when it came out, the wait list at my library was so long. And by the time I started to get close to it being available, I just had too many other things going on as far as books go, and I ultimately just canceled the hold. I didn't want to take it out and keep it from somebody else if I knew I wasn't going to have a chance to read it. So now I'm really excited that I have another opportunity, or excuse I should say, to pick this one up. And this will probably be one of the first ones that I get to, because I also saw that the audio has a very short wait list on Libby, so I'll be able to follow along with the audio along with the physical. So this will probably be my first read. The next book on my list is another one that I have not read yet, and that is Caledonian Road by Andrew O'Hagan. Now, this was a book that kind of was everywhere last year for a bit. I was really hoping to get to it then, but once again, you know, life kind of gets away from you, and this was a book that I didn't necessarily want to buy, so I wanted to wait for a copy of it to become available at my library. And once again, those long holds always get me in the end. And by the time I got close to it being available, I had moved on to other things, and I really hadn't heard a whole lot about this book after its release. So I didn't really want to prioritize it because I wasn't really hearing anything about it. It wasn't that I was hearing bad things about it, I just really wasn't hearing too much of anything. So it kind of got swept under the rug, and now I am glad that I do have a chance to read it, and that it's kind of been reprioritized on my TBR. So looking forward to getting to this one. Now, the next one is one that I have already read, and it's the only one that I don't have a copy of, and that's The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. This is a book that I read last year. I'm not going to necessarily talk about my feelings on that book. That'll come in a later video, obviously, but this is one that is really, it was a memorable book for me, so it's not one that I feel like I have to do a reread for, because I do distinctly remember everything that happened. It's still pretty fresh in my mind. So that is one less book that I will have to read. The next book that is in my list is James by Percival Everett. I was one of the lucky ones to get James on her list because, once again, this is a book I feel like everybody has read. So it's one less that I will have to read. And even though I read this book fairly early last year, this is a book that is very fresh in my mind, and it's one that I don't feel I would need a reread to be able to judge, but this might be one that if I have time, I will do a reread for. And the next one is another book that I did get a chance to read last year, and that is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This is a book that came out, I want to say, in the fall, and because I read it once again later in the year, it is one that is very still at the forefront of my memory. I don't think that I will need to reread this one, but if time does permit, I might give this one another go. And the last book is the one I am the most excited about, because this is a book that I have been dying to get to. It's one of the books I had on my 24 books that I want to read that I didn't get to in 2024 for this year, and it was one that I was really hoping made it onto the Women's Prize long list because I've been dying for an excuse to read it, and it sadly didn't make it. But I get to read it for this, and that is There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak, and I am so excited about getting to this one. I have heard nothing but wonderful things about this, and I sadly, I'm ashamed to say this, I've never read anything by Elif Shafak, so this will be my first one, and I cannot wait because I have a feeling I'm really going to get along with her writing style based on what I have heard others say about her writing and her stories, and this is the one that is the highest kind of excitement level for me as far as getting to. So yeah, those are the 6 books that I will be judging for this specific round. I hope that I get chosen for additional rounds beyond this one. I think that this is so much fun, and I really do like the idea of participating in this community-based prize, and I'm really curious to see what the other judges in my group think, and if there's anybody else out there that is judging Group A, let me know in the comments. And yeah, there will not be formal reviews of these books until the end of this round is completed. So probably early June, I will make a ranking of these 6 books, and I'll talk about them and then tell you which order I place them in. And until we read again, bye!